after expiry of 6 months from the date of disposition. 6 months. Year. Year. Minority insanity idiocy. Acknowledgement made by the person other than a person under liability is good if the person making it an agent of the person under the liability. Acknowledgement made by a person other than a person under liability is good if the person making it under liability. In order to attract Section 4 of the Limitation Act, the court should be closed during any part of the normal working hours. In order to attract Section 4 of the Limitation Act, the court should be closed during any part of the normal working hours. Time barred debt can be claimed as counterclaim. Section 3 of the Limitation Act is applicable to the period prescribed by any, both A and B. Section 3 of the Limitation Act is applicable to the period prescribed by both A B, local law, special law. Section 3 of the Limitation Act is applicable to the period prescribed by local law, special law. Under the Limitation Act, legal disabilities are minority insanity idiocy. Acknowledgement made by a person other than a person under liability is good if the person making it is. Acknowledgement made by a person other than a person under liability is good if the person making it is an agent of the person under liability. An agent of the person under liability. An agent of the person under liability. Acknowledgement made by a person under section 19 of the for the extended period of limitation, the part of a payment. Expiry decree, the knowledge of the expiry decree where summon or notice was not duly served. Expiry decree. Under section 19 of for the extended period of limitation of the part of payment. The part of payment must be in the handwriting of the person making the payment. In the writing signed by the person making the payment. Acknowledgement made by a person other than a person under liability is good if the person making it is good if the person making it is an agent of the person under liability. Acknowledgement made by a person other than a person an agent of the person under liability. Acknowledgement made by the person under the Limitation Act, legal disabilities are under the transfer of a property. Instrument means non-testamentary instrument. Non-testamentary. Under the Transfer of Property Act, the Property Act attached to earth means under the Transfer of Property Act S35. Rooted in the earth as trees and shrub, embedded in the earth as well as wall and attached under the transfer of property attached to under the transfer of property attached rooted in the earth as trees, actually rooted trees and shrubs embedded in the earth as well as walls of buildings embedded attached to what is so embedded for its beneficial enjoyment of that to which it is attached. Which section of the Transfer of a Property Act explains he who accepts the benefit under the instrument must adopt whole of it. S35. Actionable claims means unsecured debt, any debt claim recognized by civil courts to grant relief. Unsecured debt, any debt, claim recognized by civil courts to grant relief, to create an interest for the benefit of an unborn person, which of the following requirements should be there? Prior interest, to create an interest for the benefit of unborn person, which of the following requirements should be? Prior interest, actionable claims means actionable, unsecured debt, any debt, claim recognized by civil courts to grants relief. A35, which section of the Transfer of Property Act explains? He who accepts the benefit under the instrument must adopt the whole. S35. Which condition apply to create a vested interest? It is not defeated by the death of a transferee defeated before he obtains possessions. It is transferable and heritables. It is transferable and heritables. It occurs accrue in the present and immediately, even though the enjoyment is postponed. The act of transferring property during the pendency of a proceeding makes transfer neither void nor voidable. During the pendency of a proceeding, at the time of proceeding, not voidable, non-voidable. It hold. Condition apply to create a vested interest. And heritables, vested interest. An expertise decree can be set aside within 30 days. Aside. Date of expertise decree. Which of the claims under S3 of the Limitation Act is treated as separate suit? Setup by counterclaim. Setup. Section 3 of the Limitation Act does not apply to suits, application, executions. Section 3 of the Limitation Act does not apply to suits, applications, executions. All instruments for the purpose of a limitation shall be deemed to be made with reference to Gregorian calendar. All instruments for the purpose of a limitation shall be deemed to be made with Gregorian calendar instrument. The essence of the sedition under the Indian Penal Code is intention. The essence of sedition under the defense of the consent has no application in case of the defense of consent has no application. Causing grievous hurt, causing death, consent has no application in case of Dokaiti. Dokaiti can cover robbery based on extortion, robbery based on theft. Dokaiti. Use of violence by a member of unlawful assembly. In furtherance of their common object will constitute offense. Common object is rioting. Unlawful assembly riot. The defense of the consent has no application in case of consent, causing grievous hurt, causing death, causing death, causing death. Criminal conspiracy is defined by Section 120, criminal conspiracy. Rioting which use of violence by member of unlawful assembly. A with view to murdering D enters D bedroom at night. A with a view to murdering D enters D's bedroom at night when D is out of station. He is guilty of house trespass. Under which of cases can a statute exclude mens rea? Mens rea. Public nuisance. D enters murdering. View to murdering enters D's bedroom. Statute exclude mens rea. Public nuisance. Which the following does not form part of actus reus. Conduct. Actus reus. Mens rea. Public nuisance. Mens rea. A being publicly servant directed by law to make property and education. satisfies decree pronounced in B's favor by a court of law, knowingly disobey the discretion of law with the knowledge that he is likely thereby to cause injury to he has committed the offense. Defined 166. A public servant to take property in execution in order to satisfy decree pronounced in B's favor. A subsequent case which referred to the principle of Praful Desai judgment. Dr. Kumar Saha versus Dr. Sukumar Mukherjee. Praful Desai. Praful Desai judgment. An accomplice is unworthy of accomplice of credit less is corroborated in material particulars is a presumption of fact. Credit less is incorroborated. A dispute regarding handwriting can prove by dispute regarding handwriting. Calling an expert regarding handwriting. Examining a person acquainted with the handwriting of the writer of the question. Actually, the time tested rule is that acquittal. A guilty person should prefer to convict son of an innocent person unless the prosecution establishes the guilt of the cost beyond reasonable doubt cannot be passed on the accused. Criminal court cannot afford to deprive having at least a reasonable level of the appellants were the real the timey. Actually, the Rang Bahadur Singh state of UP rules that acquainted guilty person should be referred to conviction of an innocent person unless the prosecution establishes the guilty of the um, accused beyond reasonable doubt. A conviction can be passed on the accused. Criminal court cannot afford to deprive Section 85B of the Evidence Act provides that where a security procedure has